welcome to episode 190 of Credit 101. In this episode, we're going to talk about tips for safe credit card use. So, when you guys get to the point where you have a lot of credit cards like me, it's certain things that you need to do. Okay, it's just being honest. People like, well, how are you going to manage 15 credit cards? How are you going to manage 10? How are you going to manage 20? There are certain things that I personally do to manage my credit cards, and it's some tips that I want to let you guys know about it. So, first of all, make sure you guys keep your information secure. Just don't put your information on any credit card on any website. So, make sure you guys are on secure websites. You're actually looking for it at HTTPS in the URL, and that's going to let you guys know that your transaction can be safer. And make sure you guys don't be on public Wi-Fi when you guys doing transactions. And make sure also that for all of your credit cards, you have them stored in one safe place. You don't want to just take these credit cards out with you. So by the time this video come out, I've already been back home from traveling. So tomorrow I have to travel. And when I travel, I'm only taking certain credit cards with me. I'm probably gonna take only 2 credit cards with me, maybe 3. And I have my Apple Pay, so I know I don't even really need to physically take my credit cards with me. I'm gonna keep them stored at home in a safe place. Or you guys can get a safe deposit box if that's what you want. I've done it also. Get you a box and just keep them in there if that's something that you want to do. But make sure that you guys are keeping your information secure. And then monitor your statements regularly. Review your statements. Make sure that you don't have any unauthorized charges on there. And if you see any issues and spot them, make sure you guys report them right away. And I like to set up some alerts on my credit cards where they're going to tell me about certain purchases, my payment due dates, my spending limits. They're going to let me know these different things. And I also like for your credit card, maybe you could put alerts out there where they're going to tell you when you're using too much of your credit card, or if you had a recent transaction that may be too high. But maybe they want to do that also too. Hey, like, you got a transaction for this amount, can you please verify it? I get that a few times too, depending on how much I'm actually spending on a credit card. And then make sure you guys pay your balance on time. I say pay your statement balance by your due date. Make sure you pay your minimum balance no matter what too, if you can't pay your statement balance, because your statement balance is everything that you owe last month basically. That could be $4,000, that could be $2,000, that could be $500, it could be different. But if you don't have money like that and you can't pay it, just make sure you pay at least that minimum payment so that you don't get any type of late fees, because I think that's where the problem is going to come in with a lot of people. So make sure you avoid the late fees, and make sure that you pay your balance down a lot, because that's going to help you improve your credit score. And again, paying your balance down, that's going to help with your utilization. I always say, never in your lifetime should you have your utilization over 30% unless it's a 0% APR credit card. Well, let me not say that. When you apply for a credit card, at least you should never have it over 30%. So, for example, I have 0% APR credit cards. I told you guys this previously. I have 0% APR credit cards. So I'm not caring about what my utilization is right now on any of my credit cards. I'm just paying the statement balance by the due date. That's it. I'm not doing any overspending on my credit cards. I'm just doing that because I know, since I have those 0% APR credit cards where the utilization is over 30%, it's not looking good for my credit anyway, because my utilization is high. But I know when it's time for me to apply for something, I need to pay all these balances down to 5% or below. I'm not applying for anything with a high utilization, period. So make sure you guys do that and just pay down your credit cards to make sure that you're not paying a lot of interest on these credit cards, because you want to make sure that you guys are being mindful of the different fees. You guys need to know about the annual fees, foreign transaction fees, late payment fees, and then also understand their fee structure when it comes down to these credit cards, so that you can basically avoid unexpected changes. So that's something that you guys definitely need to understand, and use your credit responsibly. Do not use your credit cards if you know that you can't pay off that statement balance, because you know that you're paying interest on something. And it's horrible when you're paying interest on little things like eating out or trips. It's like, no, that's not what you want to do. you're going backwards. So make sure you guys look at your budget and you guys are really just use your credit cards for things that's on your budget. To me, if it's outside, and you talking everyday use, we're not talking about business or anything like that with your personal credit cards. To me, I'm not using anything that for my credit cards that's not on my budget. And that includes like spending money too. Say if I travel and I know I got $100 spending money, because that's what I want to do. Is if I have $100 spending money, I'm just doing light traveling. I'm not doing nothing extravagant. I'm going to use my credit card to pay for that. And I know I put in my budget for cash, but I'm going to use my cash to pay off my credit card because at least I can get the rewards. And just make sure that you keep track of your credit score. You want to know where your credit score is at, whether it's going up and down. And you have Credit Karma that is totally free that you guys can use. So definitely check them out. And if you guys were to have a lost or stolen card, make sure you guys report this credit card immediately, because if you don't, you're not going to know what they're going to do. My biggest fear, and which is why I make sure I have my Apple Pay, my biggest fear is somebody taking my credit card and it's a $10,000 limit on it and they just maxing it out, and now I have to fight with the credit card company to actually have them take care of that. So I like to just make sure if I have a stolen or lost credit card, I let them know immediately. And then when you guys get your rewards, like I said, all my credit cards, I don't say if I get like 2% back on dining or something like that. I'm not just gonna just go dining because I'm gonna get 2% back. I'm gonna use that credit card when it's time for me to go dining. I know that it's there. If I get 2% back on restaurants, I know that when I go to a restaurant, I will use you, but I'm not going to use you because you're going to give me 2% back, because that's not going to be worth it. Make sure you guys are just using your rewards wisely too. In the previous video, I said that I love some of my credit cards that offer me the option, like Discover, that they offer me the option of just whatever my rewards are, my cash back is. They can just put that on my bill. I love that. Same thing with Navy Federal. I can just take my rewards, put it in my savings account, and I could just use my savings account to pay my bill. Like, I like things like that. But just make sure you're using your rewards wisely. But let's check out my website. I have some credit cards on there that can pre-qualify you without a hard inquiry. But just make sure that you guys are using your credit card. This is episode 191 of Credit 101. And in this episode, I want to talk to you guys about your credit card statements and notices. A lot of people don't even look at these notices. And a lot of times the credit card companies will ask us would we like to get our notices via email. And the reason why they're asking this to me is because they don't want us to really look at them. And the reason why I think they don't want us to look at them is because we may have some fraudulent charges, and they'll have to fight with the different companies for us if we find fraudulent charges. And not only that, when I had a late payment before, I found out that we have something in the billing act stating that if we get our notices in the mail, but for some reason we change our address and we get the statement at our old address, we weren't able to update our new address, then they'll have to remove the late payment and then also late charges. And I use that to reverse a late payment that I had previously. So I always tell people, look at these different statements that you guys may get from all your different credit card companies. You just never know. Go line by line. And to be honest with you, I did not start looking at my statements until I got deep into budgeting. When I got into budgeting, I had to look at it because I wanted to know, what am I spending my money on? So I started to look at my statements to see exactly what I'm spending my money on. What can I do to cut back on these different things? And then I'll see, okay, I'm spending too much money when I'm eating out, so I need to cut back on eating out. Or I'm spending a lot of money on travel, I need to cut back on that. Or not only that, I need to make sure I'm doing certain travel that I can actually write off for my business. But I started to look at my statements and I seen exactly what was going on in terms of where's my money going. Another thing is, you guys want to check your notices. You know how you may ask for a credit increase on your credit card and they'll say, hey, we'll get back to you in 5 to 7 days. Please look and see what they send you in the mail, because they'll tell you exactly what's wrong. So when you look and you see, oh wow, I got a notice in the mail, you will see, okay, you denied me an increase because of these 3 things. They'll tell you why. So we need to start reading these notices. Even if you guys apply for a credit card, they'll tell you why. Sometimes they'll send you the notice in your email, but you guys definitely need to look at these notice and statements. And I wanted to talk about a few more things. So I added it to my blog. My blog is on my website, Rickita.com, but you guys should be able to see it down below in the description. But please look at your statements. I cannot stress this enough. I look at mine, even if I don't look at my actual statement, let me be honest. Like I paid my Navy Federal bill today. Even if I don't look at the statement, I scroll through my transactions, make sure that there's nothing that I did not personally do on there, and then make sure that I'm paying a statement balance by the due date. And for some reason, they did not charge me. Make sure that they did not charge me any interest. But please check these statements, and let me actually show you my website so you guys can get familiar with it.